guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dani Rios, for those that don't know me. I know you guys are probably really bored right now, and I think it's week 2 of quarantine, and I'm surviving. I will say I actually live for it right now. It gives me a good time to put out content that I've really just put off for the longest time, and I thought this was a really good informational video for you guys, and also so you can learn a little bit about me and just like my career and my journey and how I've transitioned from college to a corporate job to full-time blogging to all of the above. So if you guys are ready, let's start this video. Okay guys, so if you don't know and you've been following me for a while, or if you're new, I am 25 years old and I have been blogging full-time since August of 2017. So it's been about, 3 years? I'm so bad with math and numbers. So it's been a while and I honestly love it. I never dreamed that this would happen. This was never my goal. I never aspired to be a professional blogger. I honestly didn't even think this would be a thing when I started my blog. So the fact that I've been able to travel, I've been able to partner up with national brands, local brands, and just the opportunities that my blog has brought to my life is beyond anything that I could have ever thought of when I was in high school. So I kind of just want to tell you, how all of that came about. So a little background story, I actually did go to college, and although I didn't finish, I went for about 4 semesters, and I was going to do marketing because that's always been a passion of mine. I love entrepreneurship and I love marketing and branding. And I think that comes from my family. Most of my family are entrepreneurs, and I always just looked at their businesses and I always wanted to make them better. I always saw my grandma and how she sold, and just seeing how she branded herself, seeing how my mom branded herself once she took over the business. And I feel like I was very blessed because I always had such great examples of entrepreneurship in my life. So for me, I was like, marketing seems fun. So I ended up going to DBU in Dallas. I think I did 3 semesters at DBU, and then I did 1 semester online back in Mexico. And then I took a little small break just because of some family issues. And during that small break, I did nothing. I didn't work, I didn't do anything at all. And oh, that's my little Febreze thingy. So I decided in that time that I was going to start my blog. My friend Frank, hey Frank, if you're watching this video, he wanted me to give him a shout out so bad. But he is actually the main reason why I started my blog. He was living in LA at the time, and he told me that all his friends were blogging and they were making a lot of money. And he was like, you should start a blog. Now for me, people have always asked, this sounds kind of cocky, but people have always asked for my advice. Even in high school, in junior high, people always wanted to know my makeup tips. People wanted me to do their eyebrows. People always wanted to know where I got my clothes from. So I feel like in a way I've blogged my whole life. He was like, just do this blog. I think it's going to be really cool and you're going to make money. And I honestly was like, this seems weird. I don't want to do this. I feel like I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to begin to blog, basically. But I did it anyway. I launched a website, and I did a lot of research. Now, a lot of people always ask me how do you start a blog? And sometimes it's if you don't know how to do something, all you have to do is Google it and research and learn, and then do it for yourself. So for me, that's kind of what I did, and was researching. I looked up a whole bunch of blogger accounts. Now, this was a long time ago, guys. This was in 2015. So back then, blogging was starting to take off, but it's nothing it is now. I feel like everyone is a blogger or an influencer nowadays. But back in the day, there was a few core key bloggers, and I would kind of go to their pages and research and kind of just browse through and see what they were doing, and I try to mimic that. However, back then there wasn't a lot of lifestyle blogs and beauty blogs and wellness blogs and fitness blogs. It was more strictly fashion. I always knew in my heart that I didn't want to do a fashion blog, but I really wanted to do beauty. So I kind of stuck with that niche, and I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do this. So I kind of just started my blog, but it wasn't really like taking off. Like I was in Mexico and I got like a few opportunities over there, but it was like nothing like once I actually started doing it here in Dallas. During that little break, I did my blog. It was about like a year or so that I was just kind of like learning how to like use hashtags and how to edit pictures and all of that sort of stuff. That following summer, I came to Dallas and I was just hanging out with my friends. But again, my friend Frank, the one that told me to start this blog, he was like, hey, my friend really needs help with social media. She's launching a jewelry line. Would you like to help her? And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I was literally doing nothing that summer. So I decided to do it and I kind of helped her with her social media. And then after that was over, I was like trying to apply to college to go back and finish my degree. And then it was so crazy. I got a call from, I'm just going to say her name, from Sabrina, which is like, she's my friend now, but she's the one that had a jewelry line. And she called me because her and her husband are the CEOs of this huge company here in Texas. And she was like, hey, we don't have a social media person right now. Would you be interested in a social media marketing position? And I was like, yeah, can I do that while I'm going to school full time? And she was like, no, this is like a full-time job. And I was like, what? I was like so confused because I was like, wait, can I do that from Mexico? And she was like, no, like we actually want you to come into the office and like have an actual job. I ended up meeting with them and they were giving me like a really great salary, something that like someone would want to have when they graduate from college. So after I met with them, I ended up taking the job, and I remember I called my parents. I was so excited. I basically had to tell them that I actually wasn't gonna finish college and I wasn't gonna go back to finish my degree because I had gotten this corporate job. I told them and they were all for it. They were excited for me just because it was a really great opportunity. So for me, that was more of just like God's favor and kind of like an unexpected thing. I didn't really do anything to try to get hired. I actually wasn't even looking for a job. I was actually trying to go back to college, but it just so happened that she offered me that job and I took it, and that was my first corporate job at 21, and it was really crazy because I thought I was honestly just going to do social media, but I did so much more in that company, and I actually realized that I was basically a part of the whole, like the actual marketing team of this company. And this company is really big. So for me, I mean, I remember like a few months after I started, I was actually on a bus campaign around Dallas, and it was so funny because like followers would send me the picture if they were like behind the bus and they, like it would have my face on it. It was like so wild. Yeah, so I was kind of a part of the marketing of that company as well as managing the social and all of that. So it was just a really cool, great experience. Now, for me personally, now I feel like people are gonna come at me. I don't know. I've always thought that like, yeah, college is important. And I think like for certain degrees, you definitely have to go to college. But I also think that sometimes experience is more important. I feel like nowadays it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will get hired or get a job. So for me, like I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And like, I knew that even when I went to college, like I was going to college to study marketing so I could have my own business and know how to market and just be better. But honestly, a lot of the stuff that like I learned in college about marketing was stuff like literally I already knew. So sometimes it's just like a natural gift and a natural talent, and yes, you learn things and sometimes you can make connections and contacts while in college, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, just who you are and like the way you like think about stuff is way more important sometimes than just having a piece of paper. I mean, I literally at any job or anything that I've ever done, I've never like had to submit a resume. Like literally I would die if I had to actually make a resume. I kind of like dread that thought. That's kind of like my background story of that, I guess. I am very thankful for like that friendship, because if it wasn't for her and if it wasn't for my other friend Frank for pushing me to do the blog, and if it wasn't for my friend Frank that introduced me to my friend Sabrina, like, and then her hiring me, like, I feel like I would not be where I am today. So it is really important to get yourself out there, to network, to meet people, because you never know what's going to happen with those relationships and the opportunities and the doors that will open with that. Someone asked, they were like, how did you get that job without a degree? And that's basically how it is. And sometimes, like, I don't want to say that it's all about connections in life. But it's all about connections in life. That's why there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are millionaires but never went to college, because it's I honestly feel like it's a gift. While I had that corporate job, I actually was like investing a lot in my blog. I was investing in branding, in renewing my website and logos and business cards and tons of stuff because I wanted to make sure my blog looked really cool. And even though I was starting, I wanted it to look like I was someone, even though I wasn't. And that's kind of just a big tip that I give people. It's like always make your brand look better than what it is. Whatever you are trying to aspire your brand to be, like make it be that. So yeah, I remember like during my corporate job, like when I was working from 9 to 5, like I would go in from 9 to 5 and then I would go to events, shoot after work, and like do a million things. I would wake up 7 a.m. on Saturdays, on the weekends, go shoot all day, content, and then Sunday, same thing. Like I would nonstop go. But I feel like back in the day, I was like young. I was like 21. I could be up to like 1 a.m., wake up at 7 a.m. and like everything was fun. It was just like going nonstop 24/7. I actually didn't even really hang out with my friends unless it was like work related. But yeah, I feel like I just continued to work on my blog as I worked full time. And ultimately, I think that's what led me to do my blog full time, because if I had just focused on my job and not put in that time to still build my side business, I feel like it would not be where it is today for sure. You can always get fired from your job. I don't want to say that people don't care about you, but like sometimes they just don't. They're always looking for the best person. They're always looking for the best person for that position. They're always looking to improve their staff. So I feel like that's even kind of like a sense of security to just go ahead and like do your side hustle and like work on it as you have whatever job that it is. If you do love your job, then like do whatever you need to do to make it awesome and to like succeed and thrive in that job. But if you feel like your heart is not there, like look for that side hustle that makes you happy and like invest in that, because ultimately you could always get fired at your job, but like your business, you're always gonna have that, and you're always gonna have even extra income coming in from that. But honestly, I never really worked on my blog in like hopes that I would do it full time. Like I never even really thought that would like be possible. So it's kind of crazy that it is, and like it just ended up happening this way. But I always really just did my blog because I liked it. It was so fun. And I feel like I did it more so for like the opportunities and everything that would come. Like I would get invited to like all these restaurants and all these like parties and things. So I think for me, like that was more fun, but I was never like building in hopes that like I would be able to make it my job. People that start off with that mindset are already like starting off on a wrong foot, because you're not doing it for like the enjoyment of it and because you love it. You're doing it because of the money and the compensation. I feel like that's never a good thing. But also, if you don't love it and you're just doing it for the money, you are gonna get burnt out like super quick. Like if I didn't love what I did, and if I didn't love photography and photo shoots and creating content and brands and beauty and all this, I would have quit a long time ago, because it's so stressful. And honestly, having a job was so much easier than trying to run 2 blogs. And now with my like brow savior kit, it's just like so many things, and like you're so many jobs within this blogger role that it really gets really tiring. Like that's my biggest tip, is like whatever it is that you are gonna do, like make sure you do love it, because if not, it's gonna be really hard for you to like push through and like create content and ultimately make it successful. Okay, now people always want to know like how bloggers and influencers make money. I feel like the easiest way for me to explain that, it's bigger bloggers are kind of like celebrities, but it's basically like being a public figure where people pay you to kind of endorse this product and talk about it and promote it, because they know your fans and your followers just love anything you say and will actually like trust your opinions. I feel like for me, that's like the easiest way to explain influencing. Basically, you have all these followers that trust your opinion. So whenever you promote a product, because they love you, they're going to purchase it, or they're going to go research it and buy it. You know what I mean? Most of the bloggers, they actually make their money from sponsorships. So a lot of the stuff that we do is we get campaigns and we'll post on Instagram, on Insta stories. Sometimes we even create blog posts. And then from that, you know, there's like a rate for that. And then of course, if you are a YouTuber, you get paid for sponsorships on YouTube, for ads and like your views. you get like a monthly check from YouTube, but also from all your sponsorships. And if you're like promoting a product in a specific YouTube video, you also make money that way. So there's like a lot of ways that you make money, especially like I feel like if you're a fashion blogger, they give you like codes, and if your followers use your code to purchase like certain stuff, then you get commission off of that. So that's kind of like one of the main ways that bloggers make money, but there's honestly so many different ways. Now, a lot of people think that you have to have lots and lots of followers to make money, and that is actually untrue. And I've seen that so many times over the years, and even like in these past few years, I'm like shook because I have so many friends that have way more followers than me, and they're always asking me like how to make money or like how to actually get more of an income with blogging. Some people just either don't brand themselves correctly or just don't know how to make money. I feel like that's like the biggest like misconception, is that the bigger your follower count, the more money you'll get. But I feel like it's like the more loyal followers that you have equals like more purchasing power, and I feel like that's what's valuable. So you could have tons and tons of followers, but if they don't care about your opinion and they don't care to purchase whatever it is that you're posting, brands don't like that, and ultimately that does not make you a successful blogger. What makes you a successful blogger is being able to sell. So again, I feel like this is just a natural gift of mine. I feel like I was always so good at selling stuff. Like I remember like whenever I would go to like the mall with my family, I'd be like, Grandma, Mom, I'm the saleswoman. Let's pretend. And then I would pretend, and then I'd like go up to them and I'd be like, hi, ma'am, like, can I help you? And then they would tell me like what they were looking for. And then I would like pick out stuff for them and be like, oh, you can try on this dress. When I was way smaller, I remember like I had this little kitchen set, and like I would pretend to like cook, and I'd be like, it's $2 for these eggs. So I feel like I've always been a very salesy woman. Guys, I actually remember I went to like my brother's friend's birthday party. I was probably like 10 years old, and we got tons of like piñata candy, and I decided to sell this like individually wrapped candy to my neighbors because I lived in an apartment complex. And I went all around town and I was like, this little Snicker thing is 10 cents. If you get 5 Tootsie Rolls, it's 50 cents. That's how much of a salesperson I've always been. And I always think about that day, and I was like, I can't believe these people actually bought little candy from me. For me, that's why it's easy to kind of just like see a product and then in my head think about how I'm going to sell it to my followers. Everything that I actually post, I genuinely enjoy and I have tried it out. But for me, it's just like thrilling to know that people are going to purchase this product because I posted about it. And I think it's really cool when followers, they're like, oh my God, I bought this product and I loved it. Like, thank you so much. Because that's kind of like my goal. I mean, that's my goal as a blogger, is honestly to sell stuff to people, but like not in a salesy way. So just remember, it's not all about your follower count. It's just building like that loyal base, and also just like caring for your followers. I know a lot of people don't even like reply to their followers. They never reply to like the questions. And I feel like that's so rude, because it's like, these people follow you and they want to know all this stuff. And if you're not giving them that information, like, you're going to lose those followers soon after. I always watch James Nord from 4Card, and he always says, don't worry about gaining the next follower. Always worry about keeping the followers that you have. And I feel like that's really like wise. But ultimately, if you have great content and like great information, you're going to succeed, okay? Now, I'm just going to answer like some of the questions that you guys sent me. Someone asked, what are some tips for monetizing a blog, and is blogging on Insta better than a website? Blogging on Insta is not blogging. Blogging on Instagram is just influencing. If you are blogging, you actually have a website, which is a blog where you blog about stuff. Just because you're on Instagram, that does not make you a blogger. A blogger is actually someone that has a website and like writes articles about certain stuff. So I feel like that's another like misconception. So for me, having a blog has made me so much money, and that's why I always encourage people to have websites and blogs, because that's basically your resume, and blogs live way longer than one little Instagram post. One Instagram post gets lost after 24 hours, but a blog lives there for a very long time. And you monetize it, I guess, when companies reach out to you, it's easier to upcharge because you are selling Instagram posts, stories, plus a blog post, as opposed to you not having a blog, and then you're able to only charge a little amount for Instagram posts. So I feel like you always have to think like, how can I make more money money. And the way that you can make more money is by giving value to your client. And you give value to your client by offering them different services. So whether that be a YouTube video, whether that be a blog, I feel like those are essential to companies. And they obviously know that Instagram posts only live for a very short period of time. Of course, they are going to want Instagram stories, but then sometimes they want a blog because once it's on the internet, it lives longer. It also helps SEO. So basically, if someone was to Google that specific product that you Googled about, your blog might come up. It helps that brand as far as like having reviews and having some sort of personal testimonial about the product, as opposed to just having an Instagram post where it'll never come up in Google Analytics. Like it'll never come up in Google's SEO. You always want to drive people to your blog, and also a great way to do that is by answering questions that people frequently ask you on your blog. So for me, a lot of people would always ask me like, what are great places to host a birthday party at? So I decided to just do a whole blog on a whole bunch of birthday party ideas. That way, anytime someone asks me in my DMs, I can just send them the link to my blog post and they can go to my blog. The same thing for YouTube videos. Sometimes when people ask me about lip fillers or about Kybella or just any beauty procedure that I've already done, instead of me explaining in a message, I can just send them the link to my YouTube video. You always want to reach people outside of that and like send them to different platforms. So I feel like that's really essential and valuable as a successful blogger. You don't want to put your eggs in one basket, which is just Instagram, and also just having that content helps you. I mean, you answering to someone in a message, unless it's like a one sentence thing, it helps no one but that follower, but that person that asked you that question. Now, someone asked me, how did I manage stress? And I think they were asking, how did I manage stress with my full-time job, but also blogging? And again, like I said, I was 21. I had all the energy in the world. And something I always lived by is doing as much as you can at a very young age, because you're never going to have the same energy. You're never going to be as fast. You're never going to be as free to do this many things. And TD Jakes said this, but he said, your future self is going to thank your younger self for putting in the work and for, leaving these fruits and all of these rewards like later on in the future. So personally, I live by that. I'm trying to do as much as I can while I'm young, while I'm free, while I'm single. So whenever I don't have that energy, that same mind, whenever maybe I'm married, I can like relax and be free and have a little bit more of like a stress-free life, as opposed to me wasting my years when I'm young and then later on trying to figure out what I'm going to do for money and how I'm going to pay for a house and a car and my family and all of that. So my biggest advice is like, I know a lot of people, they're like, your 20s are to figure it out and for you to be free. And although, yes, I do think it's good to have fun, I feel like it's also better to hustle and to do something you love and put all your energy into that. So whenever you're in your 30s, you can see businesses thrive. You can reap the benefits of that hard work and that labor that you put in your 20s. And for me, I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to retire by like 50. And there was definitely a period where I felt really overwhelmed, but I definitely just pushed through and reminded myself that, the reward is going to be much greater at the end. And sometimes I don't want to do, I definitely did not want to film this video, but I definitely wanted to do it for you guys. And I wanted to put out that content because being a blogger is also very hard because it's a lot of self-discipline. And if you don't have self-discipline and you're not organized, you are going to burn out super quick, because you definitely have to push yourself all the time to do things that you don't want to do, because sometimes you're just tired. I was tired, guys. I'm gonna be exhausted after this video, but you have to push yourself and do it anyway. And that's how successful people succeed, because you push yourself and you don't give up when you're tired. So someone asked, if you have a business idea, what would be the first step? Now that I've launched my Brow Savior kit, for me, the very first steps, it's like once you know what your product is going to be, it's all about branding. It's all about your slogan, your logo, what this product is going to look like, the aesthetics of this product, and putting as much effort into that. That way you are able to brand it correctly. And I think for me, that's why I was successful even before I had, the followers that I had, is because I branded myself as super professional. Like I was been blogging for many years, even though it was I had just started, the image that you put out there is like what people gravitate towards. So it's all about branding, and knowing your demographic and knowing what kind of people you're trying to reach is really, really important. That way you can brand, start your logo, start whatever your product, your brand name is going to be, and then basing it off of that. Okay, someone asked, what is my advice on how to start and where to start? And I'm guessing it's how to start, where to start a blog. That's my least favorite question, because my only advice is to just do it. And I know that seems like dumb, but really just like do it and go for it. Like, again, I didn't know what I was doing, but I researched and I made a list of all the things that I thought I needed to blog, which I think in my list was like a website, a logo, business cards, camera equipment, a camera. And I made sure to get all of those things, and I kind of just started to blog whatever I thought that was at the time. Of course, now I feel like now there's so many more resources. Like you could literally YouTube how to start a blog or how to become a blogger, and like there's literally a million YouTube videos. So I feel like it's way easier now to kind of just start and figure out how to. But my biggest advice is just do it, and like give yourself deadlines, because if you don't give yourself deadlines, you're never like actually going to go and follow through with it. So that's just my biggest advice, is to like make a list, do it, research, and get it done. All right, last question. Someone asked, how do you make a blog successful? A blog in itself is not where like the success comes from. It has more so to do with like the person and like the brand. So whoever is behind that blog, whoever is writing that blog, that's where the success comes from. So for me, it's been my own person and my brand that I've built that is successful. And I think for me, it's just like from early on, I realized like a lot of my followers are Latin, and I feel like I tried to cater for that. And honestly, I was never trying to like reach a specific demographic. Like I was just blogging for fun. But it just so happened that because I was Latina, other Latinas were attracted to me, and that's how I got such a big Latino audience. But once I actually realized that that was a big part of my audience, I tried to incorporate a lot of Latin things into my blog. It really is about like listening to your audience and what they want and what they're following you for, and then like giving them that content that they want. If you're asking like how to make your actual blog successful, then again, if people ask frequent questions about a certain topic, like try to add a blog post about that on your website so people can go to it, or you can send links to that when they ask. I think that's like a really great way to increase your views and to increase your Google Analytics, is just by always providing information that people want or that people are already Googling. That's why I feel like it really is important to have a blog, because you get so much more value from that than from just like one simple Instagram post. My last advice is just to make content that's valuable and to make content that is informative and not just like post pic. I mean, I guess if you're an account where you're just posting inspo pics, then yeah, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about successful blogging. And if you really do want to be successful, I feel like people kind of look to you for information in whatever area you are most known for. Like I'm able to give them that advice because they know that they can come for me for that. If you are all over the place and you don't have like a specific niche and like a focus to your blog, it's very hard to gain an audience, but also it's very hard because you're just going to be all over the place. So kind of be like specific in what you're going to blog about. And then once you do that, just put out tons of content that's going to be valuable to your audience and to your followers, and something that they can take with that day and think about it and just brings value to their life. So that's it, guys. I'm so tired. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to talk about this more. Feel free to DM me, email me. I would be happy to help. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to actually like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time.